Can we have roll call, please?
Is there a
Don't know.
camera guy in?
Don't know.
Okay.
Alderperson Hoggett.
Here.
Alderperson Vanslo is excused. Alderperson Yaku.
Here. This, do we have minutes, approval of minutes from the last meeting or changes?
Move to approve minutes.
A second. All those in favor? Aye. Discussion and possible, oh, wait a second, let's go, oh yeah, that's the first thing on the agenda, okay. Discussion and possible action to prohibit parking near EP Rock School during the 2014 Hot Air Fair. Would you like to speak on it at all, dear? Or just listen? Okay, Marty?
Well, you asked me to put this on. You'd received some requests from citizens living in the East Rock area about restricting parking on one side of the street during the Hot Air Fair.
Yes.
Restricting it on their side of the street,
On
on the
the-
resident side.
Yeah, where the driveways are, because there's some streets that are too narrow where if there's parking on both sides of the streets, their fear the fire trucks and emergency vehicles can't turn in if there would be a fire or what have you on their street. Plus, other people who are coming to Hot Air Fair are blocking their driveways, and yes, that's illegal, and it's a police thing, and we could ticket, but the point is that whether we catch them all or not, it's an inconvenience for them if their driveways are being blocked. But that, to me, is secondary to the fire trucks maneuvering through.
So you want to just limit no parking or just parking on one side?
I want, just during Hot Air Fair, they are wishing to have no parking on one side of the street, and I suggested that if we do that, it would be the side of the street where the driveways actually are on.
Okay, so you're talking by the field there on the north side,
Yeah, around the field there. So, I mean, is there a problem when both sides of the streets are being parked
It
on?
all depends, yes and no. It does create a problem for getting the bigger trucks in there, the engine can get in there, but the big ladder truck can never make it in there if they're parked on both sides.
Okay,
They
so
can't
wait.
make the turn.
So it is a problem. Is it on all streets that it's a problem around the school?
Some streets are wider than other ones, it all depends.
for sure.
So which streets would there be a problem?
Well, what do you got up there?
You got Freer, you got
Freer, you
13th,
Freer,
Summer,
Hoyt,
and
White.
Hoyt.
Summer and 13.
I would think that the main streets going around there, because the secondary side streets wouldn't necessarily be a problem. They do park there.
Well, depending on the attendance, that whole neighborhood gets jammed with
Jammed
cars
up, yeah.
everywhere. I don't
Right.
see why you would just limit it to maybe, I don't know.
Because of the turning in.
I used to live on
those-
10th Street there, and people would park on both
Oh, yeah.
sides
I
there.
mean, the whole
and,
place
I
is-
mean,
Yeah, we
there was
get-
no place not to park.
I understand that, but the concern came around the actual area.
Around the field itself.
Yes, because the other streets you can get to through
From other ways.
other ways. You can't get there, you can't get to Freer Street from Summer Street by cutting through the field. I mean,
Well,
you gotta
then we
go.
should just leave 17th open and then cut down, come around.
17th.
Well,
How's that gonna help people if you have to turn on?
I'm talking about the fire trucks. I'm not
Yeah,
talking-
how's that gonna help if you have to turn
Because
on?
that'd be the shortest path into the field if you go down 17th and then hang a left on.
Well,
whatever
17th isn't a
Summer.
park, you can't park on 17th anyways.
I'm saying that the fire
Oh, you can.
vehicles could get in through there easier than most other ways because all those other side streets are going to be jammed up anyway.
Right, but let's say you go down 17th and turn left on Summer, you're still gonna have trouble turning right on whether it's 13th or,
Yeah.
the problem still exists when you actually have to get to the houses that are around the school. It's not about the houses that are in the other blocks because they have, different routes to get to. It's around the school where there's only really one,
Is it the field we're concerned about or the houses around the field or both?
the houses around the field, not the field.
You just said the field earlier, so I was just trying to be,
No, the houses, people that live around EP Rock,
Rock
the
School.
field area, and those 4 streets are requesting to have no parking on one side of the street during Hot Air Fair. They complain about football games, but that's like
Well, you could put temporary no parking signs on the residential sides of those streets.
right.
No parking during.
Not the whole time, just
No,
during
just
the
during the hot air fair.
festivals. And if it has to be during football games, it's something to look into, but I don't know how loaded up all the streets are during football
You
games.
can still get an ambulance is about as wide as a
Ambulance,
fire
right.
truck, and it goes up and down those streets all the time during football games, but that's not the
Right.
issue here. If we have to put no parking on one side, I think, in my opinion, the best spot would be on the residential side, for the simple fact is that they have mailboxes on that side, they have driveways on that
Right.
side.
That's what makes sense. That's what I'm saying.
Because if you put no parking on the field side, the only problem you run into is now there's even less places to park on
Right.
the residential side because they can't block a mailbox, they can't block a driveway.
Right. Can't block fire hydrant.
Can't block fire engines. However, I think Hot Air Affairs' concern is that if they wanted to get onto the field, if there's parking on the field side, it could run into an issue.
Who wanted to get? Oh, well,
Trucks and the trailers. And
what
so
about
forth.
the entrance you can enter through, you enter into the parking lot.
I think
And,
Ruth might be able to address that issue.
I would hope we keep a fire lane open to the school through the parking lot.
Well, yeah, that would be, it's in the field is what I think, and where they start those Bunsen burners, what do you call those
Yeah.
things there and all that stuff.
So why can't we keep a certain amount of footage, no parking on the field side too, for a fire truck entrance if necessary, emergency entrance?
Well, there is
Vehicle
on
entrance.
the south side of Summer Street, because Summer's got the walkway,
Mm-hmm.
and you on the field side you can't park there because that walkway's right there.
Okay,
there's
so
signs
we-
up there.
so
So if you
we-
put signs up on the other side, so we would have to be specific about it.
Right, but I mean, we can we can be specific in a certain area. It's not like the whole field has, you can get to the whole field, but once you get on, I mean, go ahead. Just come to the podium.
We're not on TV.
Well, I don't know,
We might
minutes.
Well, we might be. I don't even know if he's in there.
I don't think so.
I don't
I
know.
think,
so.
I think John's question was the path to the fire trucks to the field. The entrance over by the, that little what is it? What's the one that goes up over by the top of the
Rear,
field on top?
rear.
Is that Freer? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we would always leave it open right so
Here we are.
that the fire trucks could get in and the ambulance could get in, and we'd leave a lane, leave it open so they can go
It's always
up to
available
the
on the
school.
north side,
Right,
is my
well,
recollection.
that's the entrance to, so I'm saying we have an availability for the fire trucks to get to the field.
Right, we do.
And if we have the Summer Street, there's two ways to get into the field then, is what you're saying.
Correct.
But the concern from the residents is the residents' side, not the field side. And as I mentioned to you, it's exactly what you reiterated, there's driveways, there's everything. So if we would limit no parking, it would only make sense to limit it on the residents' side because there's less parking spots. I don't know how many parking spots can be parked on the residents' sides. I mean, you could probably get 2 cars in between each driveway.
It's more than that, that's quite a bit. We're talking about eliminating a lot of parking.
No, you could probably get 2 cars in between each driveway if you leave 4 feet in between driveways like you're supposed to, but they don't. That's
There's
the
also
problem.
mailboxes there too. They can't be
There's,
blocking
they're
those.
blocking them all.
Well, it's Saturday and Sunday, so.
Doesn't matter. It's illegal to block a mailbox. And it's illegal to be within 4 feet of a driveway. And they're blocking it all. So residents are blocking them all. So the point is, if you actually park legally, you can probably get 2 cars in between each driveway.
It's still a fair amount of parking.
Right, but it's also we're talking about a
The only
safety
reason I
hazard,
say,
not
Mayor, I
about
live
a,
on First Street, and my street is packed
I
every
get-
weekend in the summer, and
I give that,
you get
John.
used to it, that's all.
John, it's not about getting used to it. It's about, can you get a fire truck in there? Can you get a fire truck down First Street?
Absolutely.
Okay, can you get a fire truck around the field during hot air fair?
Apparently, we've said we can, so I guess it comes down to, do we want to not allow parking in front of
Well,
people's
it
houses
just depends on how much snow we have.
during the actual.
Can we get a
Yeah.
fire truck safely to make turns around that field during hot air fair in all conditions? If we
I would say-
have big snow coming around, now we're plowing on both sides of the street too, remember? Before we were just plowing on the EP Rock side. So now there's snow on both sides of the street to compact it even more. We're not thinking this through.
Well, the only thing is that unless we get a fire truck to go down that street and see, we won't know.
Right, but this is why Dave's here to try and give us a,
And what we've done over the years too is, well, I think it was brought to our attention by one of the officers and that does the security for us, to leave the where Freer and 13th meet and the other corners, all four corners. I talked to Marty about Summer and 13th this year, what I never thought of, but then, like you said, the snow is going both directions this year. And we've blocked no parking like 2 spaces back from the turn.
To allow the turns.
To allow not just the fire trucks and the ambulances, but the balloon vehicles also.
So now we got snow on both sides of the street.
So do you want to block all 4 streets or just Freer Street?
This is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
If the street is wider, like I believe Hoyt is a wider street, we probably don't need to block Hoyt. But I would think 13th needs to be blocked for sure.
13th is narrower.
And I don't know about, and Freer, I think the way you come in, you can come in on Freer, you can make that turn probably from Laurel.
As long as you can make the turn and get down there, once you go straight, you're in the middle of the street. But the problem exists, and they found that out down in Glenwood City, that when you get more than one fire truck in the street, you got that street blocked up.
Yep. I think we should at least do it on 13th and possibly Summer, since we already have an emergency entrance on Summer, we should probably make it a bit clear.
Okay.
Summer Street already has no parking on one side of it.
Right.
Okay, so then we're talking about 13th Street.
Don't we need,
No parking
but
residential.
isn't Freer the access point on the north
Yes.
side? So
But Freer's
do
wider.
we really need to do all of 13th, I guess is my question. So you can come down Laurel and then go down 13th and go down Freer Street, and then you're in.
Yeah, because there's no parking on the one side of 13th Street, because there's that walking path again.
Right, so 13th's already kind of accommodated except for that one block.
People
So
park on it, though. They don't care about the walking path during hot air fair, is my point.
Well, there's a big
We
sign
need
there
to
that says no parking.
Tell me who doesn't park there during a hot air fair. Either that or we need to go ticket the crap out of everyone. And I don't want to start ticketing during hot air fair. I don't want us to send, one of the things I want to avoid is tickets during hot air fair. Because I don't want people to come to a festival in our city and get ticketed. So if there says no parking on that side of the street, then we need to highlight it with flags or something, or we need to, emphasize it, or we need to just put temporary cones out in the street like we do when we're clearing shrubs, trees. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because I don't agree with ticketing people when they come in for a festival in our city. I think that's just bad PR.
Public Works can put the red flags on the no park signs just to get a little more attention. Mm-hmm. But you're dealing with people. And
I know. That's why I think if we do like the no parking cones, like we do for tree trimming, if it already says it on that side of the street and we put the cones there, then it's taken care of. So the argument of having no parking on one side of the street, it's technically moot because supposedly we already have it, but it's not being adhered to, is my point.
Right, people.
So are you saying then just Hoyt Street we'll leave alone?
I'm saying wherever there's no parking on one side of the street already, we should mark it. So if there's no parking on one side of Summer already, and there's no parking on one side of 13th already, mark it. Hoyt's wide enough, and it doesn't say no parking on both sides of the streets. And Freer obviously doesn't say no parking on both sides of the streets. We just need to mark it maybe so there's room to turn into the field. Because apparently it's already there,
And we do
right?
Not yet.
give them enough room to get into the field because
Right.
at the north end, there's the fire hydrant. And we go this way, and then on both sides of the driveway.
Right,
So
which
there's
only
room to
it's
get
common
in.
sense, yeah.
Yeah. And there is, people do park on both sides of the street all the way around.
Right. So if it's already marked no parking, which it is on 13th, you're right, but it's only from 10 to 4. Is that Monday
No,
through
no, no.
Friday?
I'm talking between Laurel Avenue and Freer Street. There's that walking
Okay.
lane, that's no parking.
Okay.
The part you're talking about is down by the school, and that's only when school's in session.
Right. So we need to mark that no parking,
Well,
the
my
driveway
question
side.
is why? Because we have an access into the other one. I'm just saying.
My response to you is because, again, it's a narrow street for fire, and cars are, the people are being parked in. there's fire hydrants and mailboxes there that are being blocked. That's my reasons.
Okay, fair enough. I think it's overkill, but that's fine.
I think it's overkill if we go all the way around. I don't think it's overkill
Every other
if there's...
street in this whole neighborhood has the same problem. That's all I'm saying. So when you get, what was it, 2 years ago, it was like 40 degrees. There was like 10,000 people that came around. It was packed. It was a 15-minute walk just to get to the field.
And that was the year that we did do the one side of the school, the inner side of the field, because we had to
Okay,
get...
so what would you suggest better? That we don't do anything to enforce what already exists without ticketing, or we ticket, or we just leave it alone and not enforce anything and just...
Why don't you just suggest what you want and we'll just move forward with it?
Well, I'm
because
just asking what we think is a better idea.
I don't think that the particular reason that you give that they're blocking driveways and stuff is unique to the people that live just around here. So I guess if it's for fire access, we can create a good fire access, but if you want fire access all the way around, that's fine.
No, I'm not asking for all the streets to be marked no parking. I'm asking for the narrower streets. Because as Dave has just mentioned, it's difficult on 13th Street if there's cars on both sides, plus there's snow.
You can't turn it in there.
Can we maybe make a suggestion? Say, can we forward this on to onto
Popcorn.
No,
City
enough
Council
time.
for the 27th?
Oh.
And before that time, have the fire department go out and drive around this
Yeah,
and have them give a recommendation to the
Just
council?
the final,
That's
that'd be great.
fine with me.
That's
Yeah,
okay with me.
then they
too.
can come up with the decision whether or not there's vehicles parked there, if they're going to have an issue or not, or if there's too much snow
Yep.
piled up. Because we did get quite a bit of snow here recently, so I'm not sure how wide those roads
And the
are.
plowing path has changed, so, and I agree with that too.
Right.
So that's fine.
All
And
right.
if you got, my concern would be on Freer Street, for the simple fact that sometimes when those buses in the fall, when there is no snow, they take up quite a bit of room coming down. So if you've got a fire truck and you got cars on both sides, that might be an issue.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to take it to, with no recommendation to February 27th, is it the 27th?
Correct.
City Council meeting, and to have the fire department, maybe Dave, to have
Is that soon
Dave
enough?
go. Well, Dave, you can't drive the truck. Do you drive the truck, Dave? Have the fire department drive the truck, or
You mean January 27th?
January 27th, excuse me, and have the
Wait a
fire
minute.
department take the truck or give an educated decision as to whether or not we need to put no parking on either side of the street for higher fare.
Okay, we'll have somebody drive up there.
Yep. Is there a second to that motion?
Second, absolutely.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so I guess city council.
Yeah, and we'll work with you on however you guys
Yeah.
decide what to do, and
I appreciate it.
yeah, because we appreciate everything you guys do for us, and so we're more than willing to do what you guys recommend and suggest
Thank you.
Perfect.
to keep peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay, number 4, discussion and possible action on the 8th annual St. Croix Animal Friends Dog Walk in the Lakefront Park on Saturday, June 14th, 2014. Isn't this the same thing, same deal, same everything?
Yep.
Then I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right. Number 5, discussion and possible action on the 2nd annual Celebrate Difference 5K Run Walk on Saturday, April 5th, 2014, beginning and ending at Willow River Elementary School.
This is the second year of this particular walk, but it does the same path as one that goes in the fall of the year. There is no issue with it. They hire a part-time or off-duty officer to work 2nd and
Yeah.
St. Croix Street. We've had no issues with it, and I would recommend that you approve.
Same path as a super
Yep.
fun walk?
Yes.
I just like saying super fun walk. All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, discussion and possible action on no left turn signage exiting the Wells Fargo drive-through lanes.
I received a letter from Mr. Freer, who owns the building right across the street from Wells Fargo. His main concern is people coming out of the bank drive-through are making a left-hand turn when the roadway is marked for right only. I told him what our problems were, because we couldn't enforce that, obviously, unless it's signed. There is no violation if the marking is just on the roadway. He was under the impression that the city had made an agreement with Wells Fargo that when that went in, that it was supposed to be a right turn only coming out of the driveway, not a left turn. His main concern is if people coming out aren't paying attention to people that are parked across the street that might be coming out of a parking stall And he said he's seen some near accidents at the location. I have not come across any accident reports that I was able to find in regards to that
Okay.
driveway with somebody making a left-hand turn.
So I thought there was a sign that says, by the ATM side, that says no left-hand turn. Am I wrong?
It's just arrows.
I think the one you're seeing is, you're over by the, I think the one you're seeing is the one for the driveway coming out of the parking,
Okay.
out of that parking lot.
Okay,
But there's
so-
not one in front of those,
But it's a private parking lot, right?
it is until it reaches the
Sidewalk?
city street, correct?
Okay. Why is, okay, I don't really agree with signing it personally. Here are my reasons. If someone's in the farthest left lane of the drive-through and they want to turn left, and there's a clear turn, it's by dictation of traffic if you're going to decide, just like Gateway, are you going to go all the way around, or are you going to turn left out of Quick Trip to go deal with all that mess by Taco Bell, or are you going to go all the way around? People, kind of do their thing. The other thing is, we've made many decisions we make here at Safety are based on accident reports, and like you said, we don't have accidents. Near accidents are not accidents. And my last thought is, when you're parked at the 15-minute spots by Bert, let's say at that very last spot on the corner, it's just as dangerous to try and pull out of that with turn signals there. I mean, you got to look and pay attention. So I wouldn't see why we would, if I'm in the ATM lane, there's a good chance I'm going to go right and not try and go left around 4 lanes of drive-through, unless it's very, very clear and there's no one around. So I don't think it's necessary to do. And I know John's probably going to say the opposite.
No, I've been mixed. I've gone left out of there myself, and sometimes it's a little hairy. And if you're in the ATM, there's 3 teller lanes there, and it can get a little nuts. And we do have a lot of traffic down. Sometimes it's a no-brainer. You don't see anybody downtown, and you
Right.
can just go left. But even though the arrows go right, so I guess I have sort of ignored it myself. It only affects Wells Fargo customers and people in the ATM. Maybe the ATM lane should go right because it's crossing so many lanes over on the left that, I don't know, from a safety standpoint, it can get a little tight in there because you can't quite see all the cars coming after the light changes. And if you're too close to the building on the left, it's still a little bit of blind there too. So I don't think it's the best scenario no matter what happens.
But there's been no accidents. And every time we make decisions lately, whether it's the 5th Street, whether it's the 11th and St. Croix and all this, what does the accident report say? We've set a precedence with that. And I think people, if there's been no accidents, it's because people use common sense when they're making the decision whether to turn left or right there. So why would we start signing it? I think I won't vote in favor of it. So if the motion is going to die, so
Well, I do wonder what was the original. Do we have such agreements where they?
I don't know, I'd have to take a look and,
Wells Fargo's been there for what? How many years? Before it was Wells Fargo, wasn't another bank?
I'm trying to remember what it was, I can't.
At least since '69. Alan used to be president of Wells Fargo. That was back in God knows when, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I asked him; he doesn't remember any agreements.
I'll have to take a look. I'll get a hold of Denny and see if I can find out.
Should we go that route and just see?
Do a little more checking on it. I can.
No.
No,
I
you
don't
want me?
think we
All
should
right, I'll
waste
just
the
leave it alone
time.
then.
Why am I going to? I'd rather Denny work on other things than look
Okay.
into that. I mean, I don't understand why we would start considering to put signage for something that hasn't been a problem because one guy is worried about getting out of a parking spot on 2nd Street. Look. There's 20, how many parking spots on 2nd Street? Should we put no left turn on every stoplight then?
Well, to be fair, it is the only major extra set of driveways coming out onto 2nd Street near a traffic control scenario with other near another intersection. It is a potential. Although there have been no accidents, I agree.
There's been no accidents. What about the public safety lot? People go in and out of that lot all the time on 2nd Street. with cars parked on both sides and cars going in and out everywhere. They go left and right.
Yeah, that's true.
I just think that, it's not necessary. There is a street light on Second Street I'd like to put on the next agenda to talk about, though, because I'm curious why it's there. But otherwise, I just don't think it's something we should, it's not, if we've set precedents, I don't know how many times with accident reports. There's been none, and it's one person saying they're having trouble. The bike shop's not saying he's having trouble. No other business owner has complained. So, would you like to make a motion
Even
or
if
let
I
it
made a
die?
motion, you're not going to second.
That's right, but you still have that right to make a motion. I'm not going to take away your right to make a motion.
I
You want it
guess
on record.
I'm tending to agree, and just out of curiosity, if we were to sign it, you could then enforce it. Is that, where would you put the sign?
No, it's possible that left turn sign that Mary had mentioned, might be in the wrong place it's supposed to be for that intersection or for those driveways. But for the person on the very inside, you couldn't see that sign from
Right.
over where it's at. The only thing I could think you could do is have Wells Fargo put signs up above their driveway overhang as people are going out that show no left turn, but that'd be up to them.
I just think it's so funny that this came to the agenda because I was just at Wells Fargo the other day and I was like, why is it a no left turn here? There's no cars coming. I'm going to turn left, and you do the same thing.
Twice.
Yeah, so it's like,
Give me the dates and the time.
Nope.
No, I'm just kidding.
so I just
stopped doing
can't,
it.
just by that means, just by doing that, I just can't support. But John, I will not ever take away your right to make a motion if you
No, I
want to put it
certainly
on record.
understand. I do not feel inclined to make an emotion. I would kind of like to know what happened to begin with. Now, but to be clear though, if Wells Fargo can sign it any time they want, right?
That's their private business. If they
private
want to
property.
sign it privately, they can.
Okay, so there's still an option to have a sign there.
The business owner can go talk to Wells Fargo and see if they want to sign it. But we, as a city, shouldn't get involved.
Like I said, when the gentleman came and talked to me, he said that he believed that there was an agreement to put that bank in there to have those drive-throughs. The city made an agreement with the bank that there would be no left turns coming out of that
Well,
drive-through.
we can change agreements if we want.
I'm just saying what he
And
said.
I'm getting so frustrated with this happened 30 years ago in the city, and now we got to take care of it 30 years later.
It's a lot of it.
So what happened in the last 20 years then when the agreement happened? Now all of a sudden it's an issue. It's like I'm just kind of so tired of the 30-year-old issues that.
It's an old city.
Yeah, I get that. And some issues are valid, but a left turn out of Wells Fargo to me is, if there's been no accidents and no other complaints, I'm not inclined to do anything about it.
I guess it would still go back on the original agreement and Wells Fargo could sign it. And they still could sign it because it's private property.
Right. If
Correct.
Wells Fargo would like to honor some original agreement, let them do it. And maybe he should go talk to Wells Fargo.
I guess I don't have anything else to say.
So I'll make a motion to deny the request.
You don't even have to make a motion
No?
if you don't want to.
Okay, we'll just let it die. All right, EMS, Fire Department, Police Department updates. Dave?
I'm going to reiterate here again. It's getting in the wintertime here, and we've had a lot of alarms here in the last couple weeks, a good 5, 6, half a dozen, for bad CO alarms and bad smoke detector alarms. Even though we're not here to change the batteries and all these things that you usually do it in the spring and the fall when we change our clocks, I would encourage the people to change and take a look at these and change any batteries that may have been in there for a while. And obviously, those all beep and tell you they got low batteries, your CO and your smoke alarm. So I would encourage people to check that out. And just an FYI for everybody, if your smoke detector in your home, if it's a battery operated one, El Cheapo from wherever you can get them, Home Depot and everything, if it's over 3 years old, throw it out, buy a new one. And electric ones, if they're about 8 to 10 years old, they have to be replaced. And the electric ones, you got to replace them all in your home because they're in series, they're connected. So they talk to each other, and they got a Sally smoke detector, and a Fred comes in there and it isn't going to work. So they have to replace those. So 10 years on electric, and about 3 to 5 years on the battery. The whole detector should be replaced. And we've had quite a few of the alarms. Same thing with your CO alarms in your homes.
On that note, I'm changing someone's smoke detector for them as I'm painting on their stairs today.
Very good.
so-
Thank you very
because
much.
I can't reach it. So maybe I'll offer my services out there. Whoever needs someone with a ladder that can reach it, I'll come on out. Find my number on the website and give me a call, free of charge. You supply the battery.
The fire chief our fire chief is officially resigned now. Jim Fry is no longer the fire chief. He was completed his tenure January 1. So the deputy chiefs now are handling the situation. And I believe the 24th of this month is the closing date for applications for the new positions to combine my position with the fire chiefs. And we'll see how that goes.
When do you retire?
I'll be retiring 2nd of May. Friday is my last day, 2nd May. So they'll have to have somebody aboard, and we'll have to do some training of some new people, a new person, whoever decides to get the
Well,
job.
they better know all the little things that you know, because
Well, thank you very much.
you know a lot of little things.
No doubt.
So, Marty?
We start, as you saw in the council meeting on Monday night, Matthew Covedo started with our department on January 2nd. He's going through field training right now. He's coming in to replace the officer that we are moving to investigations, which is Tracy Hall. Tracy was supposed to go immediately over into investigations. However, due to a medical issue with one of my officers who will be off work for a while, we had to leave her on out on the road. That also brings me to Officer Mark Crimmins turned in his 2-week notice. His last day is January 31st, so we're going to be down another officer as of that time. Currently working with the Police and Fire Commission to start up a new eligibility list and do a hire. Hopefully, we'll get the new eligibility list up. We're going to be using the old eligibility list to replace Mark's position. Hopefully, we'll get that new person up and running by the mid-February. So we're going to have
considering part-timers?
no. We're going to have 2 people on field training. We're going to be short. I got another officer who's going to be having a baby here in February, so he's going to be off the schedule for 2 weeks. So we're going to be short. We're going to be using a lot of overtime. We're going to have a lot of officers working a lot of hours. So
Why aren't we considering part-timers?
because it would be a union contract issue, because they would be filling their positions. They have to be offered first opportunity at it. They would have a grievance saying that this is their full-time line of work. You should be offering any overtime to them first. If they turn it down, then you would be able to fill it with overtime or with part-timers.
I'm confused. That's not, I don't think, the question I was asking. I'm asking,
What-
why
what-
aren't we considering hiring a part-time?
Oh, hiring part-time. You said, I thought you were talking about filling overtime
No.
shifts with part-timers.
No.
That would be up to the Police and Fire Commission. They're the ones who.
Are they willing to consider the part-timers, though, is what I'm asking. Do you know?
That was brought up at the meeting, but it was never discussed, and they told me to go off the original eligibility list that was extended.
So an officer won't be on the street for like 4 months versus 2 months?
It's possible.
And the training for the officer comes out of your budget or their budget?
My budget. The hiring comes out of theirs.
So you're going to have to pay for training of an officer now that we possibly wouldn't have had to pay for.
Correct.
Nice. Okay. Anything else?
New cars are ordered. Hopefully we'll get them at the end of March. I think that's about it for right now.
Okay. Great. Any other items for future agendas? I have one. Maybe you can answer it and it doesn't even have to be an item on future agenda. Is it on Walnut Street and Second that there's a no right turn going east?
No, there's
By Dragon
Walnut
Pearl?
and Second. There is a no right turn going south.
Going south, but I mean as you're facing east, yeah. Is it there was it placed there for a reason?
Yes.
Okay, what's that?
Pedestrian traffic.
Pedestrian was hit
Okay.
by a squad car,
Okay, we'll leave that there then.
and it went through public safety, and that was put in. No right turn.
I've seen a lot of people.
Almost
I've
get
almost
hit.
got hit myself. People in that cross. You know, it's
Because
crazy there.
because
Okay.
people are looking to the to the north and not looking to the south, and they keep
That's fine,
creeping
I
out.
just wanted to know why, because it only took me till like my 10th year living here till I figured out that that was a no right turn on red. So, all right, anything else for a future agenda?
We tend to park our cars when you're downtown. I've had and I think Dave had talked to Frank from the water department. It's the alley on between Elm and Orange.
What street?
It's where the water. I'm sorry here. Let me
Fourth,
pull-
Fifth Street?
Yeah.
Oh, where the water utility thing is there.
Yeah.
Fifth Street, right?
The problem is when you're going north out of that alley, the alley's like this and then goes up and then finally meets the street level, but it's a very short up and it's a blind sidewalk coming down and there's a car that parks right at the very end and they've had near misses with kids there already and I don't know.
So you want it to be on the next agenda to talk about that?
Yeah, sure.
So instead of talking about it now.
Yeah.
So what, do you know the cross streets?
I'm pulling it up right now. Sorry.
Okay,
Should be Fifth Street between Elm and
that's what I thought.
Orange.
Fifth.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so we'll put that on the next agenda to discuss that alley area or the
It's the
sidewalk area?
It's the alley where
it
the
the
alley
alley or
meets
is
the
Is
sidewalk.
it the alley that floods all the time?
No.
Is it the alley or is it the driveway for that?
It's the parking lot, isn't it? Where the guy parks, person parks. And it isn't a parking lot for the daycare, it's a parking lot, they got a couple of signs there from.
That's right.
That other office building across the way, whatever it is.
So it's the alley exits onto Orange Street between 4th and 5th
Fifth
Street.
Street, yeah.
And
Oh, I know what you're talking about, right there.
yeah, it's weird because the alley is really low and then all of a sudden it comes up and you cannot see the vehicle.
If
The
kids are
vehicle
walking
cannot
down.
see the kids.
Okay,
I know what
we'll
you're
put that on the agenda.
Yeah.
Also, Third Street, is it no parking all the way through Third Street Hill, Third Street Hill?
On the one side till you reach these residents down here.
Okay. We'll leave that for now, because I want to observe something before I put on the agenda. I just want to check. Okay. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Yeah, move to adjourn.
Second, all those in favor? Aye, we are adjourned.